Hey everybody, Steve Hansen here with Janitorialstore.com and myhousecleaningbiz.com. Say what I'm doing here is I'm going to clean this shower and get it ready to seal. So let me show you some of the things that I use to do that. So here's what I have is I got my little half-gallon pump-up sprayer. I got a squeegee, I got a nylon scrub brush, and a grout brush. That works great for getting in the corners and edges. I've got my cleaners. I got two types of cleaners. I've got one cleaner for soap scum, then I got another one for mold and mildew. Got my extra towel, my gloves there, safety glasses, and this is the sealer I'm using. I'm using the same sealer, Stone Tech sealer. Great penetrating sealer, great for natural stones and ceramic tile. Got my brushes and pail. I've got my mask for when I put on the sealer tomorrow because of the fumes. Even though it's a water-based sealer, it still gets a lot of fumes. So the shower I did here is a very beautiful travertine shower. I've already gone in and I've cleaned everything. So it's all been scrubbed down, cleaned, and we're ready to go. So we're going to let this dry overnight, and then we're going to come back tomorrow and go ahead and put a coat of sealer on it. And depending on how it responds, I may put 2 coats, but we'll see. But anyway, just wanted to show you guys that's what we're doing here in order to clean and seal natural stone. So I'll keep you posted. Hi everybody, Steve Hansen here again with co-founder of the Janitorial Store and My House Cleaning Biz. I'm getting ready to put on sealer in this shower. Let me show you what I've done so far. So I've gone in and I've cleaned this shower with some Stone Tech product. I use actually a soap scum remover and a mold and mildew remover. And this is a natural stone, as I said earlier. Cleaned up very nice. I gave it overnight to dry, although even the sealer that I'm using, I can apply it while it's still damp, but I elected not to. So what I did is, like I said, the first thing I did is I come in and I sprayed it down, scrubbed it with a nylon brush, made sure I got all the corners and edges and areas like that there. Rinsed it with water and then squeeged it off, and then I wiped it down with a towel to help dry it. Then I just let it dry, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ready to apply my sealer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sealer here in this container, and I'm going to put it in the blue pail, and I'm just going to use a paintbrush to apply my sealer. So now I could apply the sealer a number of different ways. I could use a foam roller or a foam brush, a paintbrush, and or if I wanted to, a low pressure sprayer. But whenever you atomize something, there's always, things you got to be careful of. I like to just use the paintbrush. I like using that. It helps me get in the corners and edges and things like that. And I also got my respirator, because even though that's a water-based product, there's still going to be some fumes. So I'll turn on the exhaust vent here in this bathroom, put on my respirator, put on my gloves. I got my safety glasses on, and I'll start applying the sealer. And generally what I always like to do is I always like to apply the sealer from bottom to top. The reason is that if I start on the top and if I get a run, I might be able to see that run, that sealer that ran down that wall, even though I go ahead and I apply a coat of sealer. The thing is that run will probably, on the bottom, will be dry by the time I get to it. So that's why I always start at the bottom and work my way up to the top. I don't have to worry about that, and then the same process for when I clean it. That way I don't have to worry about anything like that happening. So I'm going to go ahead and put on my gloves and go ahead and turn on the exhaust fan and get things set up here so I can get this shower sealed. I'll show you the end results. Thanks. Alright, well, I've got the sealing done in the shower. It probably took about 45 minutes to go through and seal all of the stone and grout lines. So what I did is I originally come in and I cleaned the shower. Cleaned it with some soap scum remover and some mold and mildew remover because I did have some spots that had that needed it. And so when I cleaned it, I scrubbed it with a nylon brush, and then I came back and rinsed it with water. And then after I rinsed it with water, I squeegeed it off, and then took a microfiber towel and wiped it off. And then what I did is I just let it dry overnight, because I wanted to make sure that the stone was thoroughly dry before I put a sealer on it. And when I did, I put a penetrating sealer on the stone and the grout. And when I did that, I applied the sealer just with a paintbrush. So I had a few options, as I said before, is that I could put it on with a foam roller or a sprayer, a low pressure sprayer, and or a brush. And I always like to do a brush anyway. This is a small space, so that's why I did it that way. Also, that's why I just scrubbed this by hand, because it's a small space. It's a good sized shower, but it's still a small space. I think when I scrubbed it all down, it only took me probably 45 minutes also just to do that. But anyway, so I applied the sealer, started on the bottom, worked my way up to avoid lines and things like that. Let it absorb in 10-15 minutes. Then what I did is I took another microfiber cloth and I wiped off the excess sealer off the tile. And then after I did that, I just continued doing section at a time, and I eventually worked my way right out of the shower when I was completed with it. So then now I'm just going to go ahead and let it sit for probably 24 hours before it gets used to make sure that it's totally cured. And then we'll be good to go. I shouldn't have to do this again for another year maybe. The sealer I was using, it could be good as up to 3 to 5 years, but you know, I can just do a test for the customer and see if it's ready to have it done again next year. But I probably doubt it because, again, like I say, you know, I use quality materials and sealer, and I know the job was done correctly. But there you have it. That's what you want to do when you're gonna clean and seal a travertine stone shower.